Hey, how's it going? It's Harrison Burns with Grieving Teens again, and today we're interviewing someone else who's willing to share their story and testimony and experiences within the Grieving Teens groups at Palm Desert High School and all the other high schools throughout the Coachella Valley. Would you please give me your name, age, the school you attended, and the year you graduated? Go ahead.
Hi everyone. My name is Fabian. I'm 20 years old. I went to Palm Desert High School and I graduated in 2018.
Fabian, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So, first things first, I want to know how you found out about Grieving Teens. Were you referred by a teacher, a friend, a coworker, parent? How'd you find out?
I found out through my school guidance counselor. I was going through a couple of things at the time, and at the time, I was really I was having a difficult time trying to find people that were, I don't know, kind of relate to what I was going through, or like just finding people to talk to that would just get what I was going through. And she thought that would be a good way of me to, to find others that I could talk, about my problems and stuff like that.
All right. Well, the next question is exactly that. What were you going through? What was your grief, the things that were ailing you at the time?
I was really mainly just going through like a major gosh. I was going just through like a major episode of like depression and anxiety were hitting me pretty hard that year. There were a lot of different things that were just on my mind that year. And like I think my biggest issue was really like I no matter how big an issue was or how small an issue was, like or how much it was bothering me, like I never really talked to anybody about my issues. I was pretty reserved. And like at that year, I don't know, like just everything combined that was going on in my life was just so stressful, and like I felt like I was gonna explode, honestly. Like I didn't know how to deal with any of that, and I feel like that was probably like a good way about going. Joining grief group was a good way about going with gosh, I'm sorry. How to like cope with that and stuff like that.
I understand. So it was a way for you to finally get all the things that were bothering you off your chest and figure out a way to properly communicate everything.
Exactly, pretty much.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
How did all this affect your personal and professional life? Were your grades failing because of it? Were you suffering in school? Were you antisocial? What was going on?
My grades were definitely slipping a little bit. I was my senior year, so like I was pretty worried about whether I was gonna graduate or not. Like my grades didn't slip to the point where, well, not all my grades slipped really badly, but like the classes that I really needed, like English and my government class, were pretty iffy. So like I was stressed about at the same time, like dealing with some of my own personal issues. Like I was really stressed about whether I was gonna graduate or not. And luckily, I managed to get through that and graduate. Just barely, but uh, yeah.
So I'm curious as to how grieving teens in the grief group affected you post high school. Did it give you the tools and know how and the ability to deal with stress later on in life? Do you think it carried over?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think so because like I said before, I was a pretty reserved person. Like I don't just talk about my issues just to anyone, but like it taught me how to seek out help. Like it taught me how to like not deal with like all the stress and everything that I go through, all the issues that I go through throughout life, like on my own. Like it just taught me how to like seek out help and, know that I'm not alone, out there when it comes to like, certain issues.
Of course, of course. Second to last question, I have something that I wanted to ask, and it's: would you recommend a group like this, or even grieving teens in itself, to other people who are dealing with the same thing? For those that are watching who might be on the fence as to whether or not to actually seek help or go to a group like this, would you recommend it, you personally?
Yeah, I think I recommend it. Like it's really like a safe space to just talk about like certain, issues that you wouldn't want to talk about with just anybody. And like everybody there is like pretty nice and understanding, and all of us like are going through like different problems throughout our life, but like in a way we kind of like have the same feelings about those problems, and we kind of get each other that way, and like we can just give each other support and advice, on how to deal with specific things, and that alone is just like really helpful.
Well, Fabian, I appreciate it. I have one last question for you, and it's just: do we have your permission to use your testimony and your story to support grieving teens in professional capacity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Fabian, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.